A Jamaican-made Christmas. Giving Jamaican gifts this holiday has never been easier. Weekend Business Report starts right now. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Keneal Gale. Thanks so much for joining us this week. It's the most wonderful time of the year with lots of fun, food, and gifts. So why not give your loved ones or your pixie or your co-workers an authentic Jamaican gift? We'll be flipping through the pages of the Ministry of Tourism's Christmas in July catalog in just a bit. But right now, here are some of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk. The Jamaican government remains in defense mode as yet another major U.S. media outlet has taken up the issue of sexual assaults on the island's tourist resorts. The latest story appeared on the #1 rated morning show in the United States, Good Morning America GMA, on Monday. But first, let's tell you about the government's response. Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says there will be a revision of hiring practices and staff training for employees within the industry. Jamila Maitland tells us more.
Mr. Bartlett says the government will be taking a collaborative approach to addressing the mounting allegations of sexual assault by tourists.
I know that there is something in the public space which has not worked well for us. The issues of sexual harassment and the issues of criminality that historically or otherwise might have been a feature. We are determined that the new architecture must see a Jamaica that rids itself of even the slightest perception on that matter.
Mr. Bartlett says workers will undergo stringent ethics training.
So we are going to develop a whole new program of training and discourses and discussion about something that we're calling tourism ethics, which is the way in which we interact and relate to our guests in a manner which is friendly, yes, but is respective of their particular personality and their human rights.
And in an update to the security audit the minister has ordered of resorts, Mr. Bartlett says so far this has been completed on 14 properties. He also announced that tourism security expert Dr. Peter Tarlow is spearheading a comprehensive review team as part of the new paradigm.
And Minister Bartlett's comments come just as Jamaica's tourism industry took another hit in the international media. The popular TV show Good Morning America carried a story about sexual assault at Caribbean resorts, particularly at the Jamaican-owned hotel chain Sandals Resorts. They spoke with 2 alleged victims, one of whom is suing the company for $30 million US. They also spoke with Sandals Deputy CEO Adam Stewart. Here's more.
As glamorous as the Riviera.
It's one of the hottest luxury resort chains, welcoming over 10 million guests across 30 years.
But it's even better because it's in Jamaica.
But Melissa Blayton says her Jamaican vacation to Sandals Ochi Beach Resort last year was anything but relaxing.
Little did I know that it was going to turn into something that I can never take back.
She says one of the resort's employees offered her a solo sailing excursion and that once they were alone on the water, he physically and sexually assaulted her.
You trust these people that are paid to make sure you're having a great time.
She says when she reported him to the resort, she asked if she should call police. She says they told her they would take care of it and rushed her into signing a voucher for a future trip, which included a non-disclosure agreement. Ashley and Jeff Pascarella say something similar happened to them.
We had a lot of dreams, just that it would be, just the perfect wedding on a paradise island.
They say on the night before their 2006 wedding at the company's Royal Bahamian Resort, the butler provided to them by the company sexually assaulted the bride-to-be.
It's the day before a wedding. I'm supposed to be that guy to protect her and, care for her. And hours before we're supposed to get married, something like this happened.
They say Sandals offered to reimburse them the $15,000 they spent on the wedding, but only if they agreed to sign a non-disclosure agreement. They refused, and they're now suing for $30 million. These allegations, part of a bombshell series by the Detroit Free Press, claiming women are being assaulted at various Caribbean resorts and then paid for their silence.
There almost seems to be this protocol. Resort management or staff will quickly huddle around, talk to the victim, and they try to take care of things by themselves.
Adam Stewart, the deputy chairman of Sandals Resorts International, says although rare, he is aware of some incidents involving his resorts. How many alleged assaults are you aware of right now?
It would depend as to how far we go back, but a handful.
A handful, meaning like 3, 4, 5, something around that?
Something probably around in the region of around 10.
He says the company has strict safety and security protocols, and for any incident, the police are always called. But Melissa says she never heard from police. In this particular case, this woman says police were not notified, and she was told that the resort was going to handle it. Was that an appropriate response?
In this particular case, and in all cases, the police are notified. We have pioneered and developed safety and security protocols with our customers at the center of it.
As for the Pascarellas, were all protocols followed in that case as well?
That particular case is now before the courts, and I can't comment specifically on it, but I can say that in the hospitality industry, the world over, that anytime we don't deliver, refunds are a part of the tapestry if we don't exceed our expectations.
In exchange for a non-disclosure, though?
Well, a settlement agreement is what we would call it in this particular case, when any type of, if any type of refund may be on the table.
Bottom line, do you think offering someone who claims to have been sexually assaulted by one of your employees a refund and a non-disclosure agreement, do you think that's the proper way to handle a situation like that?
Amy, our security protocols are crystal clear. They're in place. They have served the company very well over the years. We follow them to the book to ensure that we take care of our clients and their safety.
There's a new fast food restaurant in the growing resort town of Falmouth. The local KFC chain opened its 36th outlet. Here's more.
Falmouth, we reach.
And with that said, residents of Falmouth and its environs no longer have to travel to Montego Bay to enjoy the offerings of the fried chicken franchise. Managing Director of Restaurants of Jamaica, the local franchise holder for KFC, Mark Myers, said they're pleased to have a location in Trelawney. He noted that they chose the parish for a new restaurant because of the prospects for growth.
We chose Falmouth to be the home of our newest location because Falmouth is primed for growth. With a budding BPO sector, hospitality and community tourism industries, a thriving small business community, an investment in construction across the length and breadth of Trelawney.
This new restaurant brings the number of persons employed to the group to over 2,000, and Mr. Myers said that there's more expansion to come.
As we approach the start of 2019, Restaurants of Jamaica plans to continue its expansion. We're not slowing down. In fact, we're just revving up. 3 more stores, 3 more restaurants will be open in the next few months.
In the meantime, Minister of Commerce Audley Shaw applauded the Restaurants of Jamaica for the move. He added that this is in line with the further projected growth for the parish.
It also seems by all indications that the growth has only just begun, with the Hamden Wharf also slated to be open next year, bringing an influx of port and logistics services and enabling greater connectivity and commerce this side of the island. The National Housing Trust has also earmarked 3 housing projects for Trelawney over the next 5 years. This will undoubtedly mean more commercial activity for the parish as these homeowners go in search of amenities.
Moving on now, looking for an authentic Jamaican gift this Christmas? Well, you can find that special piece in the Ministry of Tourism's Christmas in July catalog. Take a look.
Every year, the Christmas in July initiative gives local manufacturers an opportunity to pitch their products to corporate Jamaica to secure buys for Christmas.
The Christmas in July initiative was really the brainchild of one of our networks, which is the Manufacturing Technical Working Group. And the Manufacturing Technical Working Group, that has been established for a number of years now. We were looking at not just corporate gifting solutions, but how could we bring to not just the tourism sector, but the corporate Jamaica ideas of gifting. And when we came up with that idea, we were looking at Jamaican gifts. Of course, the Tourism Linkages Network has the task of providing solutions for the tourism industry once we're able to meet that price point and also supply consistently. So the idea was what corporate gifting solution, and later that expanded to retail, we could have that is made by Jamaican companies. So what we had was a public call for persons who could make gifts, Jamaican gifts, any gifts, or with significant value added, to actually come on a show called Christmas in July.
The event, which happened earlier in July, is in its 4th year and helped individuals secure Christmas orders months in advance.
We call it Christmas in July because we are giving not just corporate Jamaica, our hotel sector, but just about anybody who wishes to buy from our local manufacturers time to produce. A lot of times our local companies have been accused of not being able to supply demand. And one of the reasons that they give is time and sourcing materials. And therefore, we felt if we had such a showing in July, persons would have the opportunity to place their orders in a timely manner, and also our suppliers would be able to supply the goods in a timely manner. So hence Christmas in July. Christmas in July is when we actually have the show open to corporate Jamaica, to our tourism industry, and to the public to come and view what our local manufacturers have to offer.
The 2018 Christmas in July catalog is now available, and both corporate Jamaica and individuals can access the publication to browse authentic Jamaican gift selections.
One of the benefits is at the end of the show, within a couple months, we're able to produce a catalog called Christmas in July. And this catalog is printed, but it's also online, and it is sent to just about everybody in the database of the Ministry of Tourism and our agencies and all our partners. So persons have the opportunity to shop online. In the catalog, you'll have directory, websites, how to actually find our suppliers. It's all listed there. And we also do some printed copies, which we disseminate to our tourism industry and to our corporate suppliers and to the persons who actually have products in there themselves. So what they have is a wider reach of persons to purchase from them, which they would not have had. What they also have by it being online is that they are open for business 24 hours. Persons can always place their orders. Some of the benefits that they also have, when we have other activities, we will take different groups of persons depending on the activity we have.
So buy a Jamaican-made gift this Christmas and support a local entrepreneur while helping to boost the economy.
Well, we would like to ask Jamaican and everybody outside there to support our Jamaican companies through giving us a Jamaican gift this Christmas. But also, the gifts are not geared only towards Christmas, they are geared all year round. So we would be happy if we support our local economy.
And you can check out the full catalog on the ministry's website at www.mot.gov.jm. Company news comes up next, then later a top 5 Christmas list that will dazzle your eyes. More WBR after this break. Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Here's this week's company news.
The Court of Appeal has temporarily stopped the shutdown of telecommunication company Carousel. In a ruling on Monday, the court said it's allowing Carousel's parent company, Symbiote Investment, to challenge a Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court had previously refused the Symbiote's request for leave to seek judicial review of the government's decision to revoke Carousel's telecommunications licenses. The court has also stayed the implementation of the minister's revocation order until January 14. Access Financial Services says it has acquired all the shares of Florida-based consumer finance company Embassy Loans Incorporated. The acquisition cost $6.4 million. The transaction, which was completed just over a week ago, was funded from the proceeds of a $900 million global bond issued in October. Access Financial says the acquisition of Embassy is in keeping with its long-term strategy to diversify operations and revenue streams into markets with profitable opportunities for growth. The acquisition is also expected to provide a platform for the company's expansion in North America. The National Commercial Bank NCB Financial Group says it will be revising the offer in its takeover bid for Guardian Holdings Limited. The revised price being offered is $2.79 per share and will be made for up to 62% of the outstanding Guardian Holdings Limited shares. The NCB Financial Group says the announcement indicated an expectation that the revised offer and takeover bid will be published soon. However, the exact timing has not yet been determined. A commitment has been made to publish the offer and takeover bid within the next 30 days.
Let's now take a look at the closing numbers from the major stock markets around the world. When you come back, more of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk, so stay with us. Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ is projecting that the value of currency issued by the end of December will amount to just over $128 billion. That means that 16.5% more money should be in circulation this Christmas compared to last. Here's more.
The Bank of Jamaica says by the end of the month, there should be about $128.1 million in circulation. That's up by some 16.5% compared to the same period last year. At the end of last week, $4.2 billion was issued for the month compared to $1.4 billion for the same period last year. Financial analyst Dennis Chung says he's not surprised by this performance due to the country's current economic position.
I'm not surprised at it. With the robustness that we've been seeing in the economy, particularly in construction, which is where a lot of the jobs at the lower level happen. The improvements we've seen in the visitor arrivals and tourism. So I'm really not surprised.
Mr. Chung says this suggests that the money in the economy is not just concentrated in one sector.
What it shows also is that when you have an increase like that, a strong increase like that year over year, it shows that the money is not being concentrated in one segment alone, but it seems there's a widespread. So you see the effect on the roads, the amount of traffic. You don't see as many sales as you saw in previous years when the economy is not doing good. So it's not a surprise to see that increase year over year.
He expects the increased currency circulation to trickle into 2019 once the economic conditions permit.
I expect that this trend will continue into next year, so even though you don't have the same amount of spend in January, but year over year, the rate of money supply will increase. It's a good thing that can happen, and yet still we're still containing inflation within the target rate.
Residential fires are more frequent during the Christmas season. That's according to Public Relations Officer at the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Emilia Ebanks. That's why he's warning citizens to take precautionary measures to prevent fires during the holidays. Shoshana Small has more.
Christmas is a time for food, family fun, and apparently fires. The public relations officer at the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Emilia Ebanks, says around this time there tends to be an increase in the number of residential fires, and many of them are related to electricity. So, in preparation for the upcoming season, he wants Jamaicans to check and replace faulty house wiring.
A lot of them are related to electricity. So, there could be a number of reasons. It could be that residences, private residences, sometimes persons don't really pay that much attention to the wiring. We normally recommend to persons that if your house was wired over 5 years ago, then you get a certified and a licensed electrician to come in and do some checks of the wiring and make sure that everything is working as it should.
He says this is especially important if you decorate your house with a lot of Christmas lights.
Persons are putting up Christmas decorations, lights, and of course there's a greater demand on the grid for electricity, and of course the power supply company will make sure that they are producing more electricity. And if persons' houses are not, or premises are not wired and functioning properly, then that could also lead to some amount of problems. And, with the Christmas lights, persons could be overloading circuits. So there are myriad of problems that normally result in that kind of spike at this time of year.
And it's the time of year for lots of celebration. So as many people host events, the Jamaica Public Service, JPS, is encouraging them to ensure their electricity supply is in check. Here's more.
As the holiday season kicks into full gear, the Jamaica Public Service JPS is encouraging persons who are hosting events to prioritize energy consumption as they go through their list of needs. Director of Corporate Communication and Customer Experience at JPS, Winsome Callum, says most indoor events will have power supply secured. However, persons putting on outdoor events need to consider their options from now.
For many events, there is already supply at the location. Sometimes your event is inside, is indoors, maybe in a community center, in a concert hall. You don't need to worry about that. But if your event is outdoors, for example, or at a location that doesn't have any power supply, you should start checking out how you're going to get your power supply from now.
Ms. Collum says for these outdoor events, once there is a meter, persons simply need to go into the JPS office to request supply.
If there is a meter already at the premises and you just need to get that connected for your event, you simply go into the JPS office and apply for the event. Usually it's just a deposit of $1,500 that's needed, or if you tell the JPS officer to whom you speak what equipment you're going to use, then they can give you an idea of what your deposit should be and probably what your usage is likely to be.
When we come back, Christmas isn't really Christmas without Christmas lights. So stick around to see these record-breaking light shows. More on that after this break. Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. These 5 houses are in the Guinness Book of Records for the most lights used in a Christmas display. Take a look.
Coming in at number 5 on our list of the most dangerous houses ever to be in a direct flight path, it's the Preston Family Christmas Light Show. They're either sending those rooftop messages to their neighbours in outer space, or they created this entire show just so they could shoot a drone video and get a few YouTube hits. Our money's on the aliens. Number 4. The Gay family hold the current world record for the most Christmas lights, coming in at over 600,000 lights in total. Nearly 200,000 of those lights were supplied by Ritz Crackers because apparently Christmas wasn't commercialised enough. Number 3. What happens when you combine Christmas, cheap lights and dubstep? If your answer was the best party ever, then get off this channel. We don't want your type around here. The real answer is a nauseating infusion of music and lights that is both terrible and amazing at the same time. You're drawn in and can't look away. It's like witnessing a car crash or watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Number 2. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without someone singing Amazing Grace, but this Christmas light show takes things to another level. It's a remix synced to hundreds of colourful lights, making it look like the house itself is raving it up. And number 1. When it comes to Christmas, and everything else for that matter, Americans tend to be bigger, louder, and brasher than everyone else. Come on, don't pretend you're offended. You know it's true. But this over-the-top Christmas show actually comes from Germany, while a quaint house in the middle of nowhere lights up every year with 500,000 lights.
And that's our show for this week and for 2018. On behalf of the entire Weekend Business Report team, happy holidays. I'm Keneal. See you next year.